Welcome back to Comic Book ASMR. Today we're going to be doing another comic book haul, and then I got some neat collectibles and stuff, so we're going to show those off. A lot of random assorted stuff, so I'm excited to get right into this. So first off, we have Superman Lost #2. I love this cover here by Lee Weeks. Very striking here. The troubled Superman, just kind of the setup for the series. He tells Lois he's going to be gone for a minute, and then he comes back and he's just kind of like shell-shocked, completely silent and withdrawn. And so this story delves into what happened in that short minute or so he was gone, which to him was like an eternity, and then for whatever reason he was able to just populate right back, but clearly experienced some stuff that just really messed him up. So yeah, Superman Lost. So we see him drifted out in space here. He gets picked up by another random race, and they kind of just poke around at him a bit, and I think at this point he's just kind of so beside himself. He's just like, well, what if I, do end up starting over here? And they're like, oh no, we don't want your trouble to come to this place. And so they more or less brush him off. And then we do see a new costume in here as well, which has been leaked a few months ago. So if you're curious which issue that happens in, it's going to be this one right here for Superman. That white suit. Next we have, this is the Lee Weeks variant for Superman Lost #1. I believe this is a second printing one though, because I could swear the original one shows him flying Lois like out into space or in the sky or something, but I could be wrong. But still, I love Lee Weeks' work, so I was glad to see that and pick it up. Next we got Superman #3. And yeah, this is continuing to be a lot of fun. Villain featured here is one that doesn't get a lot of playtime. So we see Parasite has kind of taken on a bigger threat in here. And they even made like little microscopic versions of himself that somehow Superman breathed in and he got infected himself. And so then there's issues with him trying to rid himself of being overtaken and all sorts of good stuff. And some pretty significant things develop in this issue. I won't spoil it for you, but it's really fun. It's really, really well done, and I'm enjoying seeing the direction this goes in. Art's pretty interesting. I'm not sure how it's created. I think it's all computer, as I'm pretty sure I've said previously, but it's fun to look at. It's definitely not traditional as my favorite style, just because that's what I grew up with, but really fun stuff. So if you haven't picked up Superman, the new one going, I recommend it dearly on issue 3 now. It's not too late to jump on. Next we have Superboy, the Man of Tomorrow #1. And it's always nice when the cover artist matches on the interior here. I believe it's the same artist inside as on the cover. And I believe the threat he takes on in this book is their first appearance. I'm not really sure, but I've never seen the people that he goes toe-to-toe with here. Yeah, so I looked at the credits, the same person on the cover. So, yeah, and this was fun, and not anything too significant or crazy that I remember. Actually, was fortunate enough to read everything ahead of scheduling this, because this video should have actually been filmed last weekend, but I had so much going on, as you'll see by some of my souvenirs that I show off. So, apologies that this wasn't done last week, but it's just too busy to do it, unfortunately. So next we have World's Finest #14. little bit of a murder mystery going on here. And yeah, this certainly continues to be a fun series. Just kind of random. I'd say this in particular. I mean, from what they just came off of, I'm sure there'll be more of a direction to it, but currently it just kind of feels a bit random to me. The ending is good though, I remember that for sure. And then of course Mark Waid's writing it, so he's done this thing a few times, so he knows how to write a good story. And you can see he's using some lesser used characters later in this series as well, so it's fun to see that. And if you know about some of like his favorite characters and stuff, you might be able to put your finger on who you end up seeing in here. Next, I got the Street Fighter Masters Cammy one shot, which honestly the cover is probably the best thing about it. Interiors are okay, not really. The cover is just a lot better, I feel. Like, see, this is supposed to be Cammy there. She like infiltrates a fashion show and stuff, and a little bit odd. But the thing that I love about the Masters things is actually in the back they have kind of like concept art of different iterations of the characters there. Cammy always been a favorite of mine. Got a cool look to her for sure. And then they've got all sorts of like the little variant cover show off images there, and then I think there's a few more right here. So yeah, and if you're interested in getting other Street Fighter books and stuff, you can go to the Udon store and pick up stuff there. I'm thinking about there's not too many for the ongoing Street Fighter, so I might pick them up. I might not, but it's certainly an option. Next we have the Captain America Cold War. I guess this isn't a regular numbered issue. I thought it was. But yeah, this is continuing on the same thread as the ongoing series here. The stuff with the White Wolf and Bucky, and I'm trying to remember the names of them. They're like the points of the star or something, Star Point. But yeah, the art continues to be good. It's interesting stuff. They've brought in Steve's son from the Dimension Z storyline. So yeah, I'm enjoying it right now. Cap is actually a really enjoyable book for me. So this nice shot of Falcon here. Or I guess technically Captain America, but you know what I mean. And we have Captain America Unforgiven, #1. And this is just kind of like a monster book. And not really too much earth-shattering. I think it's just kind of a one-off, if I recall. It's fine, and if you buy every Cap book, I'm sure you're going to pick it up anyway. But, yeah. And we have, this is the conclusion, finally, Deceased, War of the Undead Gods, #8. This is a homage to an Adam Hughes Power Girl cover, I would assume. But lots of big things happen in this last book, and I'm wondering if it'll fully be wrapped up at the end of this. It certainly feels that way. It's a pretty big crescendo of what occurs here. So I'm not going to go into all the details, but at this point you'll probably wait for a trade if you haven't been reading it thus far. But I do recommend the Deceased stuff, but hopefully they this is it. Because as I've said before, it was kind of the charm of this was the uniqueness, not continuing to churn out more and more series. But this one in particular, like this last arc really feels it's very satisfying and it's very big. So I do, if there's some of the arcs you skip, like in the middle, I think that like there's an Unkillables or something like that. I don't remember honestly, but this one, the War of the Undead Gods, really good. Okay, next we have, this is the Yosagi Turtles crossover called Where Win. And we got a nice Eastman cover on here. Most of this book takes place in Yosagi's area here. I did notice, I think something's off with the printing. Everything, like the blacks kind of look stressed, like a bit choppy. I don't think that's Stan's inking doing. I think he does hand letter his stuff as well. So, but I don't know if you can really see the quality of it here, but it almost looks like a little bit off as far as like the line clarity. You can almost just see it's like a bit dot phrase a bit. So it could be a printing issue, maybe the wrong DPI or something, I don't know. But the turtles do show up about midway through here in the present day, and then it kind of sets up how they get over to where they're at. I ended on this fun image of them fighting these robots here. But yeah, it's fun if you like Stan Sakai's art and you love Turtles and Yosagi, you certainly want to pick it up. And I think it'll be a 5-part miniseries. Next we have The Adventures Continue, Season 3, Number 4. For the animated series, this nice Brian Bulland Man-Bad cover here. Very cool. Look at the detail here on these. Love it. Brian is so good at what he does, you know. I never get tired of seeing what he can do. And so, yeah, the big arc going with this current story is we get to see the Suicide Squad in animated fashion. So we see Amanda Waller basically coming to Harley and asking for help again, and Harley's refusing. So then she ends up fighting the Suicide Squad with the aid of her friends, with her Roxy Rocket here and the March Hare or something. I can't remember what the rabbit's name is. It says, yeah, March Harriet. That's what I thought. And then I like how Ty Templeton has kind of got like this hybrid version of Joker he's drawing now, because you know he's done it in kind of the cleaner style of the newer cartoon, like the Kids WB one, but down on the eyes he's removed the weird, completely black alien pupil-eyed thing and just given him the traditional eyes. So I like that. I prefer it. So wasn't big on that with the New Adventures, where his skin's like almost bluish and he's got those black eyes, fully black eyes. Next we have Armageddon Game, The Alliance, number 6. In this, actually, the full story is done by the cover artist. I think the last few of them, if not all of them, he just did like the last bit of the story, like maybe 6 pages that would lead into the next part. So we see April and Karai here still having some pretty big interactions. Stuff with the scorpion here and stuff. So this story arc is almost wrapped. I believe there's just a few more left. And it'll be interesting to see what direction everything goes in. And we have Spawn number 340. So just want to mention as well. So one of my friends, who initially was one of the people I managed at my old job, she's a big supporter of when I put out the bull number 1. I think it's been like 4 years ago now. I do want to do more for sure. There's just confidence and mental things going on with all that, unfortunately. But hopefully by the end of this year, it is my goal to get out a number 2, hopefully even much sooner than the end of this year. But getting in a better headspace, honestly. So there's a bit of transition through all that. But yeah, she's super supported. She lives like almost an hour away now, but she still supports the shop that I recommended when we worked together, which is Everett Comics. And so she made them drop a little post-it on one of my books here. So she's just really nice and supportive. So thanks, Nairi, for keeping me going and keeping me accountable. I know about the fact that you want to see more Bull, and I appreciate it. So hopefully I'll be able to get him going for you. And did confirm, so the Bull will end up in that Clarity Girl book that just funded on Kickstarter. So hopefully I'll be able to show you all that in the coming months. When it comes out, he'll have a fun cameo. So hopefully you guys backed it like I suggested, because that will certainly count in my eyes for any Bull collection purists. So yeah. But yeah, Spawn's just got a lot of crazy stuff going on right now. I can't make a lot of sense to it, honestly. A whole lot of fighting, a whole lot of supernatural stuff. But it's just kind of the fun and the support and the nostalgia of the character. Todd is not walking away anytime soon from Spawn, and so it's always nice to support him in his passion, because, you know, he's definitely an inspirational creator to me. Next we have Gunslinger number 19 with this cool Mark Brooks linking cover. If you buy all 4 of the Spawn titles, each one will link together. So a lot of big things happen here. You see Gunslinger gets big old hole blown through him, which kills most hell spawns. And as the angel's here talking, he's like, oh yeah, this is how we check if we fully got him. If your hand can fit all the way through the hole, then that's how you can be sure that that's good enough for a fully terminated hell spawn. And then his friend's like, well, don't you also cut off the head? He's just like, for the stronger ones you do, but I want to worry about it with this hell spawn. If you want to cut it off, it'd be more for a trophy's sake. And then, of course, old Al Simmons shows up and, you know, more or less helps the situation however best he can. And kind of something big happens at the end of this one, too, that I won't spoil. So pretty neat. So that's all of the regular current stuff that I got from my favorite local shop. So I was able to pick up from they like to bundle back issue miniseries and things like that, and, you know, story arcs. So they had the Long Shot miniseries, which I've been meaning to get for quite some time. Big Arthur Adams fan. There's been times where I've seen, you know, several of these issues for way less, but I'm just like, now it's all here bundled. Plus, I love supporting my local guys anyway. So I'm happy that I finally own the Long Shot series here. So if you don't know, Anna Senti and Arthur Adams co-created Long Shot together. So if I ever meet Arthur again, I met him in the past. If I meet him again, this is one that I wanted him to sign that I didn't have at the time. But if he's ever in the area, for sure I will have him sign this, since this is his creation here. But yeah, this is fun. This is just old school, good quality stuff. stuff that inspires me. We've got that old comic book paper smell, all the fun old ads here. Like, this just does so much for my nostalgia, this old Reese's Pieces ad and stuff. It's all just so good to me, so glad that I have this. So, and I've never read this full story, honestly, so it's cool to be able to have it here and enjoy it and read it all in one sitting. They like to collect this stuff in trades and all that, but the colors are usually too bright and oversaturated and everything, which I know they're trying to more or less remaster this stuff and make it better. But for me, it's I love, kind of just that old faded color mixed with that low grade paper. There's just something about it, because that's how I experienced them for the first time. So, and then there's Mojo. This might actually be his first appearance, maybe. There's old Mojo. And yeah, my first interaction with these guys was through the X-Men cartoon. So that's why I went back. I'm just I want to learn more about these guys. It was a really brief arc, and Mojo was so bizarre, but certainly I thought it was, entertaining. So next I'll move on to the stuff that now I have to get mailed to me, since it's not by my work anymore. It's by my old work. So it's got to get mailed. So this is the Image. I think this is number 11 for the Image anniversary. And of course, as in the past, there's all of your talent. And then you just get a nice sampler of a lot of fun talent, a lot of different stories and styles, which is kind of the signature of Image. Is everything is just delightfully different, creative and strange. And everything else here is going to be in backwards order, because I didn't flip the stack right, but what can you do? So we got X-Men number 21. I'll probably just show off whatever the newest one there is, and then just work from it that way. So X-Men 21, we see the Brood here. Looks like Scott's dad is doing better. See, he's alive. Previously, the one I read, they had to surgically remove a Brood baby from his stomach. So that was super crazy. So yeah, this is the, I guess, newer. I'm sure there's been another one that came out this past week or so. But this is the newer X-Men book that I got here. So just kind of some fun space adventures, which I think just distances itself from the sinister stuff that's going on with the one-shots and all that. And then let's see, so this is Immortal X-Men number 2. This might be maybe the end of that. And it's pretty much projecting a reality with lots of corrupted versions of our favorite mutants and stuff. Looks like the regen here. And I don't fully comprehend it, but that's just kind of where we're at. I read too many things, and so sometimes you can't retain everything, especially when the story's already kind of odd, I love that's like that half cybernetic thing that's going on with Jean there. That's pretty interesting. Put that one away. Okay, so there's number 3, so I guess I'm a liar then. It's all good, so I won't open that one though, anyway. And I didn't remove the tape either, so I preemptively do that when I get these. So here's Amazing Spider-Man 24. There's some pretty controversial stuff going on with him and MJ from what I hear, which, leave MJ and Pete alone. That's all I can say. People have very strong opinions about that. They are kind of like that forever couple for a lot of us. You get for the sake of outrage and investment and all that sort of stuff. I should say, yeah, still Ramita's art is more rounded on the edges, though I'm used to the more squared in style that Ramita kind of made his thing for the longest time. But yeah, I like the group that they have helping Ramita Jr. here. Like the inker and the colorist, they all serve perfectly for complementing his style. And honestly making it better. Sometimes when the line weights are too thick on this stuff, it gets to be a bit much. So we've seen Osborn has helped design some crazy OP Spidey suit here, which I'm sure will have some sort of fail-safe that'll mess Pete up somehow. That was 24. And then there's 23, 22, and then that's a different Spidey title, so I will show that one off. Okay, this is Into the Spider-Verse Part 7. Dan Slott promising to take away the thing which he pioneered, I suppose. I believe Spider-Verse was all his idea, or at least that's what we're led to believe anyway. So yeah, this is Mark Bagley art. Slot writing, we see Spidey's galore. It's kind of interesting that as the new movie's coming, though, they want to torpedo the Spider-Verse. You almost think they would want to embrace it and have people who are fresh off the movie come in to the Spider-Verse as like its own series. But I mean, that's just me, but I feel like that would be a home run. If only the creative teams could coordinate that better. So let's see here. Oh yeah, so now what I've got is a local toy shop near the comic shop had kind of like a blind mystery stack, and they promised a first appearance in there. And so then I just picked up the bundle because I liked what was on top anyway. So first we have Thor number 8, the Frankenstein variant cover. So this is the Donny Cates run. Get some nice Aaron Cooter art. Like the flashback sequences here. The sepia tone. Really nice. There's one image in particular. I flipped through this. I haven't read it, but this image right here. I thought that was pretty crazy. So, yeah, it looks like fun. I haven't read Donny Cates' Thor, though, so if I picked that up, I'm sure I'd be scratching my head as I read it. Next, we have Batman Shadow of the Bat, number 50. The thing I like the most is the cover with this one. And it's kind of a celebration book, so there's a bunch of interior artists here, as you can see. And it's just kind of like a rogues gallery of just random villains, and a lot of them are kind of like the newer villains, like Anarchy and stuff in there. You got Scarface in there, stuff like that. So nice little chunk of mid-90s nostalgic pie. Got Ghosted #5, which I've heard of this, but never really read it or anything. So, that one. You got Starlight. I have never even heard of this one, but it's by Mark Millar, so I'm sure it's probably good. Mark is a pretty talented writer, known for Old Man Logan in the Ultimates initial story arc, I believe. And we have Shuri #3. Biggest thing here, it's the Stan Lee passing tribute, so it opens with the stark black pages and then that nice image of Stan there. And yeah, it looks like Shuri is partnered with Groot and Rocket in this one. Yeah, the main thing that's so unfortunate with a lot of newer books is you can't just pick up one randomly and kind of get the full story, so you end up feeling lost for the most part. We got Elephant Men #1. Really like the art in this. I have seen these characters before, but I've never like read or picked up any sort of story, but this is really unique and nice to look at. And then if you flip it over, you get a little short story as well. So Elephant Man spins out of Hip Flask, which is kind of like this hippo in a trench coat over here. So you know me and my anthropomorphic characters like the turtles and stuff. I always like seeing animal people. It's cool to me. So this was the reason why I picked up the bundle in the first place. We get this beautiful John Boy variant cover here on Venom #2. So apparently this is the first appearance book, which it was on top. The guy's like, I don't know which one is actually the first appearance, because there's a sticker that says first appearance in bundle. So some nice Brian Hitch art. And then we go to the end and we see our character here, Archer Lyle. This is Archer Lyle's first appearance. She's a reporter who helps Eddie. So yeah, I love this though. This is good art. Brian Hitch has some moments where he puts people in strange poses, but for the most part, he does what he does pretty well. Very nice to look at. And then I found a ton of like retro cap stuff that I missed having, and most of it featuring Crossbones. So Crossbones is one of those villains that I've always just kind of loved to hate, especially with stuff like this. He's a pretty big like women abuser and other risque terms that I don't want to say that will possibly strike this video. So he's a bit of a sleazeball. So, and he's kind of one of the main ones to have it so in the front, like that issue in particular. He's not very nice. Then we have Captain America 364 following up that one. It's kind of in the same vein here. We see Diamondback. I think she gets rescued in here. Yeah, definitely getting all those old Crossbones appearances is on my to-do list, and so is completing this story arc, Streets of Poison, one of my favorites, Cap 374. You pretty much see a lot of the street level heroes together doing their thing. We have Cap strung out on some street grade, I don't know if it's a military grade street drug, is that how you want to classify it? But yeah, so he's just completely out of his mind and over exhorting for force and all this type of stuff. And we get to see Cap interacting with a lot of Daredevil characters in particular, and Daredevil's definitely on my top 10 Marvel characters. So then this one we see him actually fighting with Daredevil. So we see all sorts of good stuff here. I think the bottom got bent. That ain't cool. But yeah, so you see him and Captain America going at it. And then this random who won't wield the shield. This was after Cap was coming back. We see Forbush Man and Deadpool. And this is just kind of random. Just the not taken seriously stories here. And then this was something I didn't know was a thing here. So this is like a special edition of Steranko's Cap run here. And I think this is the only way that this has been presented. So it's kind of like on like prestige format paper, but the coloring on it, it's like you can tell it's more in the line of where they would actually how they colored it before it was printed. They would use like colored ink, and then they would run it through the press, which would usually downgrade on that lower quality paper. But here you can see kind of like more of the brush strokiness of it, so you can see a bit of the imperfections and the like paint and stuff. So really cool here. This might be something like, hopefully I'll be seeing Steranko at the Washington State Summer Con here in June. This might be one I would get him to sign. If I can find the actual book, this one here, I'll get him to sign it. But if not, this is a good safety net. So that's that. And then I think that takes care of the actual books. And now I'm going to show off kind of other amazing things that I got here. So there was a like nerd art show downtown, and so I'm trying to find where I put my friend who I've done a few shows with in the past. It's probably been 5 years ago now, but my friend Ruben, he had a booth there, so he had some really cool stuff that I enjoyed, that my kids enjoy too. So my daughter really loves Demon Slayer, so he did some Demon Slayer pictures here. And so basically the thing here is he is, with his stuff, some of his manga and stuff got damaged that he had, so instead of throwing it out, he actually repurposed it. So see, you can see he basically like plastered down all sorts of the manga and then painted over bits of it and things like that. So this is like his personal stuff he used and just kind of repurposed on top of it. And here's the Nezuko one here. And same set, you can see all the sort of images here. And then he did a cool one with the Skull Kid from Majora's Mask here. So yeah, this is Ruben. I'll leave a link to his site. If you like his stuff, you can go here and buy it. And then one more really cool thing. These aren't on the site. But at the show, he has kind of a COVID hobby he created, was customizing and modding old Game Boys. So this he used his Zelda manga he had, and that's probably the last step. First, I think he sprayed it here and then put a sealing coat on it maybe, and then adhered the link and then put another clear coat on there. Maybe, I believe that's what he did. I'm not sure. But then there's his little credit there. And he has like a big old school Game Boy that he painted blue that's got like a Mega Man on there, but the screen was kind of odd to me, so that's why I didn't get that one. But yeah, this was a pricier thing, but it's unique and it's cool and it supported him. And this is going to my middle kid who has been wanting a Game Boy Color for a while. And I got him Pokemon Yellow that came in recently too, so a nice little bonus there. So yeah, if you like Ruben's stuff, check out his link below. Pretty affordable, pretty quality, and he's a good dude. This was actually something that I got 2 hauls ago that I forgot about because I had so much stuff. So this was probably actually my first comic book memory, or my oldest brother. They would sell these at Toys R Us. You could get like a miniature version of one of the John Byrne comics here, and then they had a cassette that would read the story dramatically along with it. We didn't have this one in particular, but we had issue 1, and then we had the Bizarro one, I remember specifically. But yeah, it just kind of got a miniaturized version of the books. And then the paper stock's kind of like a bit better in quality. I thought it was fully shiny. I had misremembered that, I guess. But it's still kind of a better quality paper stock than the traditional book. And then if you remember from the recent Superman stuff, where they reprinted it and the Man of Steel trades in that, where they'd shown these images, this is where they came from here. So they have different ones on the back of different ones of these, I believe. And then you can see the cassette here. Let's open that sucker up, and there it is, saying, hey, this is issue number 3. I think it's just one-sided, but pretty cool. And definitely a product of its time, for sure. And then later that night, last Saturday, we had the pleasure of going to see Jason Mewes' comedy show. So yeah, that's me and my best friend Kyle there. And Jason just grabbed the phone and took a series of selfies, and they all came out slightly blurry, and this was just the best one that had me where I wasn't as blurry. My favorite was one where he's sticking his tongue out in the photo, but I don't come out very well in that one. So, but and then everyone who got to the photo experience also got a free signed little 8x10 little Snoochie Boochie on there, signed by Jay. And then out in front they had his Funko soda out there, which I didn't have yet, and it was signed by him. And it was actually affordable too. This was just $25, so that was just like paying $10 more for a signature. And then this is the international one too, so it's actually the rarer version than the regular one. I think there's maybe 10 or 15,000 of. I could be wrong, because here's the Silent Bob one, had 8,000. So, and then that's what they look like. And there's no chase or anything, so that just shows you on the can what they look like. I don't want to open them, just extra noise and stuff. So then we got, on Sunday, we went to the Friends experience, so then I got some Friends pins. So you just basically get to take pictures at lots of fun little moments from the show. The coffee shop, the apartments, the pivot scene, stuff like that. So, and then we tried real ramen afterwards, which was so good. I can't wait to eat it again. And then lastly, my Dave Stevens documentary that I helped kickstart came in. So, well, just basic, but it was a Kickstarter exclusive. So, just interviews with lots of creators and stuff, spotlighting Dave and his quality work on The Rocketeer. I'm not sure if there's any bonuses or not. Looks like it's 99 minutes long. And then I backed the tier that included this Adam Hughes cover on this brand new Rocketeer short stories. And a version with a different cover of this will be in stores, I believe, in a month or maybe a month and a half. So this is cool to be able to read it before everyone else. So we've got a Adam Hughes story in here. And then there is one with Craig Cermak, who I'm not familiar with. And then the next story is by Jay Lee. So this is the second artist here. Pretty similar style to Dave's there. And then we see Jay Lee's here on the end. Really nice stuff. And then all sorts of pinups. Of course, it's not the Rocketeer without all these cool little pinup images. So pretty neat. And then you get a little history there too. There's Dave himself. I think this is a self-portrait. Oh yeah, and then I think the first story is actually written by, I think, people who wrote the screenplay for the movie too, if I remember correctly. So pretty neat. But yeah, that's going to do it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. And as always, you all have a super slumber. Thanks. Bye.